Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Insers at the Point podcast. I am your host, Tyler Aaron. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, it is at TylerAaron65, or you can follow the show's Instagram or Twitter at PenguinsFan65, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel at Yinzers at the Point. And here in today's episode, we are going to be reviewing the Penguins games that I haven't reviewed yet. In the second segment, we will look at what do the Penguins have to do to end this current losing streak. And to wrap up this episode, we are going to look at Evgeni Malkin's interesting decision for his final year playing in the NHL. And that is all coming up right after this intro.
Oh, slap me, silly Sydney. Oh, save my face with a rusty razor. Oh, Murphy and the fans are smiling like a butcher's dog. Oh, let's go hunt moose on a Harley. Oh, scratch my back with a hat. As he beats Theodore like a ringing mule. Ladies and gentlemen, you got it. Elvis has just left the building.
Alright, welcome back to this episode of the Insers at the Point podcast. And before I get into this episode, I'm just going to go right ahead and make a statement. I do apologize. It's been over 10 days or something now since I've made a podcast or a new episode for this podcast. And again, I've just been really busy lately when it comes to school and work and all that fun stuff, and I just couldn't really find the time in my schedule these past week and a half to record another episode. So I should be good now for the next little while. I should be able to continue to post podcasts a few times a week like I've been trying to do ever since this podcast started. So in today's first segment, we are going to be reviewing the Penguin games that I haven't reviewed, and that is 6 right now. If you don't remember, in my last episode, I did my game preview on the Kings at Penguins game, and that's how long ago that my last podcast was. So we are going to quickly review all 6 games that I have yet to review here. I'm just going to go over each game, the basically main stuff, pretty much with these games. So the first one is the LA Kings at the Pittsburgh Penguins at PPG Paints Arena. The Penguins take this game 6-1 by scoring 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 in the third. And the Kings only scoring once in the third. Goals for the Penguins: Jan Rutta, Jake Getzel, Ricard Raquel, Jeff Petrie, Jeff Carter, and Ryan Poehling. And Carl Grundstrom gets the lone goal for the Kings on the power play. Some team stats here: Kings had 40 shots on goal in this game, 34 shots for Pittsburgh. Hits-wise, 35 for Pittsburgh, 28 for LA. Face-offs total 1, LA with 23, Pittsburgh with 32. Penalty minutes, Pittsburgh had 14, and the LA Kings had 8 in this. 3 stars of the game with this one. Jan Rutta got 3rd star with 1 goal, 0 assists. Jari gets 2nd, making 39 saves, which is a .975 save percentage. And Jeff Petrie gets 1st star with 1 goal and 2 assists. Moving on over to the Penguins' next game, their first of their 5-game road trip in Columbus. The Penguins do win this one 6-3. Pittsburgh scoring 3 in the second and 3 in the third. Columbus scoring 2 in the first and 1 in the second. Goals scored for the Columbus Blue Jackets: Boone Jenner, Jack Roslovic, and Kent Johnson gets the goals for the Blue Jackets. For the Penguins, Josh Archibald, Snipes won 3:43 into the second. Jan Ruda gets his second of the year. Danton Heinen scores in the second period, his second of the year. And then in the third period, Danton Heinen gets his second of the game and third of the season. Crosby scores his third of the season as well. And Brock McGinn gets his first on the board this season. Shots on goal, Pittsburgh had 39. Blue Jackets had 32. Hits-wise, Pittsburgh only had 12. Columbus had 31. Total face-offs won, Pittsburgh with 40. Columbus with 35, and penalty minutes, Pittsburgh had 2 and Columbus had 6. 3 stars of the game with this. Josh Archibald gets third star with 1 goal and no assists. Danton Heinen gets second star with 2 goals and 0 assists, and Sidney Crosby does get that first star with 1 goal and 2 assists. Now moving on over to the Penguins' second game of the 5-game road trip versus the Edmonton Oilers, the first of the Western Canada trip. The Edmonton Oilers come back in this one and beat the Penguins 6-3. Penguins had 2 in the first and 1 in the second, and Edmonton had 1 in the first, 4 in the second, and 1 in the third. Edmonton's goals in this game scored by Zach Hyman, Tyson Barrie on the power play, Evander Kane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Leon Draisaitl, and Ryan McLeod for Edmonton. And for the Penguins, Rickard Rakell gets his third of the season on the power play, 10:44 into the first. Crosby gets his fourth of the season, 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes later. That actually gave the Penguins a 2-1 lead. And Brian Rust scored 2 minutes into the second, his third of the year, giving the Penguins a 3-1 lead. So the Penguins unfortunately blew a 3-1 lead, and Edmonton scored 5 unanswered goals to beat the Penguins 6-3 in this game. Shots on goal, Edmonton had 47 and Pittsburgh had 35. Hits-wise, Edmonton with 27 and Pittsburgh with 32. Face-offs won, Edmonton with 34 and Pittsburgh with 29. Penalty minutes, Edmonton with 10 and Pittsburgh with 6. 3 stars of the game for this one. Evander Kane with Edmonton, 1 goal, 1 assist. Second star, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 1 goal and 1 assist. And Leon Draisaitl does get the first star of this game with 1 goal and 2 assists. Now moving on over to the Penguins' next game that took place on October 25th. So this past Tuesday, as the Penguins battled the Calgary Flames, game 3 of 5 of this road trip. The Calgary Flames win this one 4-1 over the Penguins. The Penguins only getting their lone goal in the second period, and Calgary got 2 in the first and 2 in the second. Scoring summary here for Calgary. Goals were scored by Nazem Kadri twice. Jonathan Huberdeau on the power play, his first as a Calgary Flame, and Michael Stone. And no goals were scored into the third period with that. Evgeni Malkin gets the lone power play goal 4 minutes and 32 seconds into the second. And Sam Poulin gets his first NHL point in his NHL debut. I will talk more about him individually in the second segment, as I will with all the other players as well. But stats here: shots on goal, Calgary had 36, Pittsburgh with 33. Hits, both teams had 18 apiece. Face-offs won, Calgary way better in this category, 41-23 in favor of Calgary. And total penalty minutes, Calgary had 10 and Pittsburgh had 6. In the 3 stars of the game, Michael Stone gets third with 1 goal and 0 assists. Jacob Markstrom gets second star with 32 saves and a .970 save percentage. And Nazem Kadri gets his first star with 2 goals and 1 assist. Now moving on over to Game 4 of the road trip for the Penguins. This one being on October 28th at Vancouver, as the Vancouver Canucks beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in this one 5-1, which makes the Penguins lose 3 straight. Penguins' lone goal was again in the second period. For the Canucks, they had 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 3 in the third period. Scoring summary for this: for the Canucks, Tanner Pearson gets the lone in the first. Bo Horvat gets the lone goal for the Canucks in the second. And in the third period, Andrei Kuzmenko, Bo Horvat, and JT Miller get the 3 goals in the third period for the Canucks. Bo Horvat's goal came on the power play in the second and third period, so both of his goals did, and JT Miller got an empty net goal. Ricard Raquel gets the lone goal for the Penguins 16 minutes and 3 seconds into the second, with an assist by Brian Rust and Evgeni Malkin. Total stats here: shots on goal, Vancouver with 29 and Pittsburgh with 35. Hits, Pittsburgh had 22 and Vancouver had 23. Face-offs won, Pittsburgh had 27 and Vancouver had 28. And total penalty minutes, each team had 10 minutes apiece. 3 stars of the game here: Andrei Kuzmenko gets third star for the Canucks with 1 goal and 1 assist. Spencer Martin gets second star, making 34 saves in the Canucks win and giving him a .971 save percentage. And Bo Horvat gets the first star of the game for the Canucks with 2 goals and 0 assists. And so the last game that we will be reviewing is the Penguins at Kraken game. This wraps up the Penguins' 5-game road trip to the Western Canada and Northwestern United States. I always like to refer to the Seattle Kraken as the Seattle former Penguins, because pretty much a third of the Seattle Kraken is all former Penguins here. So again, Seattle wins this one 3-1. They had 2 goals in the second and 1 in the third. Penguins again gets their lone goal in the second period. No goals actually was scored in the first period. Jake Getzel opens up the scoring 10 minutes and 5 seconds in, totally unassisted. And then Seattle scores 3 unanswered, 1 being an empty net to give Seattle the win. Those goals were scored by Penguin Killer himself, Jordan Eberle, Morgan Geekie, and Jaden Schwartz. Team stats here: Seattle with 30 shots on goal, Pittsburgh with 33. Hits, Pittsburgh and Seattle both have 25 apiece. Face-offs won, Seattle with 36 and the Penguins with 33. In total penalty minutes, each team had 4. And 3 stars of the game: Morgan Geekie gets third star for Seattle with 1 goal and 0 assists. Second star, Martin Jones, 32 saves and a .970 save percentage. And Jordan Eberle gets first star with 1 goal and 0 assists. So out of all of those 6 games I read over, the Penguins were 2-4 in that stretch. Unfortunately, this does decrease the Penguins' record a lot, down to a 4-4-1 record, which is actually 7th in the Metropolitan. The only team worse than us is the Columbus Blue Jackets at 3-7-0. So coming up in the next segment, I will be really diving into each of these players and how can the Penguins end this losing streak here as they come back to the Berg to play the Boston Bruins. So that is coming up right after this break. All right, I am back with this episode of the Insers at the Point podcast. And in this segment, we are going to look at what do the Penguins have to do to end this losing streak. So the Penguins are currently on a 4-game losing streak after having a hot 4-0-1 start to the regular season, end up losing to the Oilers, Flames, Canucks, and the Seattle Kraken. All in that, giving over a span of around 12 goals in that, and only getting 1 to 2 goals per game in all of those games. So with this segment, I'm just going to dive a little bit into each player over this, and then overall I will go off what I think the Penguins could do better to hopefully snap this losing streak Tuesday night against the Boston Bruins, who is the hottest team in the NHL right now. So starting off with Jake Guentzel here, I can't really touch really deep into him here as he got hurt during the LA Kings game and hasn't played pretty much at all during this road trip since the Seattle game. But based on what I saw in that Seattle game, he looked great, honestly. He had a goal in that game. Obviously back to his scoring ways right off the bat after his upper body injury. Nothing really to say on Guentzel, only because he hasn't been healthy enough to be in this ranked a lot. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to put across here, but Guentzel probably one of the best performers, even though he only played 1 game. Crosby, a little weak. Definitely something to watch as the season progresses here. Again, not really a great road trip for him. Not what we've seen. He's definitely declined right now in his points, but I know Crosby will rebound. There should be nothing to worry about with Crosby right at the moment. Rickard Rakell, fantastic road trip, I thought, for him. He clearly fits on this first line really well. I see nothing really wrong with Rickard Rakell as of this moment. Jason Zucker's another one I can't really touch on too much. He was hurt for a little bit of this road trip, not as much as Jake Guentzel, but again, he definitely plays his heart out every night. And I know Penguin fans day in, day out are like, hey, I want him gone. His cap hit sucks. I get that he's only got 1 year left, but he really goes out each and every night and puts a show out there, and he looks like he's the only Penguin out there who cares. And again, I'm just impressed with how Zucker's done this season. Same with Malkin and Rust. Like this entire second line, I'm just gonna touch on them now between Zucker, Malkin, and Rust. Clearly, best line on the Penguins. Absolutely, great. Rust getting first line reps when Guentzel was down. Same with Danton Heinen. Malkin played fairly well too as well, playing up and down. Playing with, the guys on the fourth line, playing in the top 6. Like, stellar job by the second line. Easily one of the best right now in the NHL. Third line, Heinen, Carter, Kapanen. Danton Heinen played really well on the first line when Guentzel first got hurt. Scored 2 goals in Columbus. But, slowly declined as the road trip went on. And I definitely see more potential with Heinen as it goes on here. Carter and Kapanen right now. A little twisted here. Carter is currently evaluated, I believe, still for a lower body injury. I will have to check that out, but it's just with Jeff Carter. You see, I really don't know with Carter. He's old. He's towards the end of his career, and there's just nothing we can do. Kasperi Kapanen is still not great of a thinker in his head. I remember watching, I think it was the Seattle game. He's got a nice roundabout around the side and has a clear cut to the net, especially with his speed. And he goes and he tries to do a little spin to a pass, goes right onto the other team's stick, and there they go back up the ice. It's just that his hockey IQ with Kapanen needs to improve. He's definitely not living up to that cap hit right now. Entire fourth line, McGinn, Paling, and Archibald. with me touching on them, Paling's probably the best out of all of them. McGinn definitely struggling. Archibald definitely struggling. I'm at the point now where I've seen enough of these two guys, and a move's got to be made here on the fourth line here. And the next two guys I'm going to talk about were AHL call-ups after we put Teddy Bluger on LTIR, Drake Caggiula and Sam Poulin. With Drake Caggiula playing against the Edmonton Oilers, there just wasn't much to see from Drake. Definitely didn't have as good of a game, but again, it's one game that he played, and I can't really judge him that well in such a small sample size. And same with this guy right here, Sam Poulin. Penguins first round draft pick to play since Derek Pouliot back in 2015, I believe. Gets an assist in his NHL debut. Looked great. Has been the Penguins' third line center when Zucker got hurt and Carter got moved up to the second line, playing with Malkin and Rust. Absolutely amazing. I think Poland should be up here. I think he played phenomenally great in these 2 games he played, and I'm just very impressed, and I hope to hopefully see him as a full-time NHLRP as boy. I think he deserves to be up here and playing at this level. So now moving on over to the defensive side here, Dumoulin, Letang, Pedersen, Petrie, POJ, Ruda, and Chad Ruedel. Individually here, Brian Dumoulin, it's time to go with him. I definitely miss prime Brian Dumoulin. He was really good defensively. He has a cannon of a shot, and we're just not seeing it from Dumoulin at all this year in any pact. And his $4.1 million on the cap hit really hurts, and it's just time to move on. I would definitely want to have much better defensemen out there in the market, and I do believe if the Penguins' losing streak does continue, a significant move will be made, whether it's on the forward side or the defensive side. Chris Letang, not really that great either during this road trip. Not really good defensively, and people want to see someone like Petrie quarterbacking the power play instead of Letang now, which is absolutely absurd in my eyes with this, but definitely not what we're used to seeing out of Chris Letang. Pedersen, very well, probably one of our best defensemen. He's really making me sound like an idiot right now of how I used to talk about him in the past with this podcast, of how, like, oh, he's got to go. His cap hits way too much. He's definitely been one of the best defensemen. Petrie, really great on the second power play unit, and I get people want to see him, working on the power play on special teams with Crosby, Malkin. I'd love to see that, but Petrie, there's just a lot of work to work on with Petrie, and I don't know really how Petrie's going to plan out in the Penguins' future. POJ, again, some games he was our best defenseman, some games he wasn't. There needs to be a lot of improvement with POJ, and again, it just depends on how POJ can develop up at this level. Jan Ruda, definitely one of our best defensemen here. Just a brilliant skater. His defensive and offensive ability is great. Reminds me a lot of Mike Matheson in a way, and it just makes Ron Hextall look even greater with how he's been playing here in Pittsburgh. And then Chad Ruedel, again, small sample size, nothing really I can say with him, except again, with the small sample size, he's done fairly well. Tristan Jarry, not really that great at all during this road trip. Has been struggling. Same with Casey DeSmith, but Casey DeSmith, in my opinion, has struggled a lot more, and it just questions the decision if DeSmith really should still be on this Penguins team, even though we could have let him go in free agency and get a much better backup. But again, NHL teams, they tend to struggle a little bit here, and the Penguins always tend to struggle here early in the season. Hopefully we can bounce back. Special teams got to be better. 5v5 definitely, and it comes down to goalies making the right decisions, not making dumb decisions. I mean, definitely some of the goals during this road trip shouldn't have been a goal and should have been saved, whether it was DeSmith or Jari in goal. But, that's all I got for what do the Penguins have to do to end their losing streak. The Penguins' next game is Tuesday night at the Paint Can in Pittsburgh as they take on the hottest team in hockey, the Boston Bruins. And I will touch on that a game preview in my next episode. But coming up in the final segment of today's episode, we are going to look at Evgeni Malkin's interesting decision of what he's going to do during his final year in the NHL. So that is coming up right after this break. All right, welcome back to the final segment of today's episode, where I will be looking at Evgeni Malkin's interesting decision for his final year here, and it's definitely an interesting one, and it's a change that Penguin fans will probably be mixed about. Some fans will like it, some fans will not. I am in between. I'm neutral on this decision that Malkin has come out and said of his final year before he retires, but I'm totally up for what Malkin wants to do. He is a franchise player for this team, one of the best players to ever play in this organization, and I totally respect and honor his decision and what he wants to do. So, in a recent interview, Malkin confessed that he is hatching a plan to pull a move made popular by some of his favorite NBA stars, including the late Kobe Bryant. Malkin had to say this in the interview: "I think now that I'm signed back in Pittsburgh and only play here, my final year I change back to 11. Malkin said, I want my 11. I want 1 year to play my original number. Who says no?" So basically with this, in case you didn't know, Evgeni Malkin never used to be 71 back when he first played. He was number 11. And I think when he came to Pittsburgh, I can't remember if Jordan Stahl was here yet or not. I don't think he was quite yet, if I remember correctly. But that was his original number. But when Malkin played in juniors and whatever, that is he wore his iconic 71 there, and that's what he wanted to wear in Pittsburgh. But Malkin just wants to go back to his original number 11. It would definitely be a change for sure, seeing that. But I totally honor and respect Evgeni Malkin's decision with this for his final year. And here's what the Penguins had to say on this. The Penguins said they would not stand in Malkin's way from switching number 71 to number 11. However, it's his number 71 that will be in the rafters after he retires, a team official said. So Penguins will not get in Evgeni Malkin's way with this at all. They want Malkin to do whatever he frees. And this confirms, even though we all knew, it confirms that Malkin's number will be retired when he does in fact retire. Hopefully not for a few seasons now, but when Malkin does retire, he will. retire under the number 71. But it's cool to see Malkin come out like this. He's been a very fun character for the Penguins this year, and I definitely, again, honor and respect his decision. So that is going to do it for this episode. Just a few things to add here. I'm hoping to have the next episode out on Tuesday, November 1st, where I'll come out with my game preview for the Bruins at Penguins game, as the Bruins are the best team in hockey right now. And with them just getting Brad Marchand back, making them even better than what they were. So that will for sure be one of the segments. Another one I am actually going to touch on, I have some Pittsburgh Penguins Winter Classic jersey news, maybe some leaks. I'm going to talk about that in the episode. I will probably have this episode out Monday at some time. I'm recording this Sunday night, but I'll probably have this out Monday, and my next episode being on Saturday or Tuesday, November 1st. And yeah, definitely game preview, Winter Classic. I have another fun little segment in there as well. And again, another thing before I go, I just wanted to shout out a good friend of mine has a podcast that he's starting on his own. It is called The Joey Osborne Show, where he covers MLB, NFL, NHL, and NBA. And he covers it all. My fellow friend and coworker Joey Osborne, his podcast, he just posted episode 2 Sunday night. I would recommend that you go out and listen to him. He's doing great stuff over there on his podcast. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Answers at the Point podcast. And so I will talk to you all on Tuesday, November 1st.